Are you new to the Amazon advertising game and are just trying to figure out what all of these acronyms mean? You've got CPCs, CTRs, ACOS, AOVs, NTBs. There's a huge amount of acronyms to keep track of, but the two that we're going to be talking about today are ACOS and TACOS. You're going to figure out what each of those means, why they're important, how to optimize for both, and when to keep, which of them in mind when you're doing Amazon ad work and when you're just paying attention to your account in general. If you like the video, please go ahead and give us a like. We really appreciate that. And if you like the content itself and want to see more, please go ahead and hit that notification icon and subscribe to our channel so that you can get all sorts of notifications when we post new content. Always coming up with new stuff, trying to help you all sell better on Amazon. So with that, let's get started. So we're going to be talking about ACOS versus TACOS today. So ACOS, what is that? ACOS is basically just advertising cost of sale. And what that means is the amount of dollars you spend to get sale on Amazon. So this is expressed by the function of spend divided by sales. So essentially, we're looking at good old ShipQuick. ACOS, like I said, spend divided by sales. So an ACOS of 48.02 means that for every dollar of sales you get, for every dollar of sales you generate through ads, you spend 48 cents to generate said sale or said dollar. The opposite of this, of course, is ROAS, which in this case would be just over 2, because ROAS is sales divided by spend. So how many dollars does your spend generate you? $1 of spend would generate you a little over $2 with this 48.2% ACOS. So it'd just be 1 divided by 0.48. That's essentially the math. So what ACOS tells you is how, of the money I get from the actual sale, you've got, production costs, you've got other marketing, you've got overhead, shipment, Amazon FBA fees. You've got, if you sell on Amazon, you know that the number of fees that you end up paying is huge. It never ends. And advertising is one of those fees. It's very important. I mean, watch the rest of my videos if you want to see how important Amazon advertising is for actually growing your Amazon sales. But ACOS is essentially to think about it, you can plug it into, each of those sales to determine, how much money am I losing in the actual advertising itself. So 48.2%, that sounds high. That's basically half of the money that you get through sales goes to these advertising costs. I wish advertising on Amazon was cheaper. It would make my job a whole lot easier, but unfortunately it does get pretty expensive. So 100% ACOS means that you're spending as much money as you're generating on ads, just as a easy way to look at it. TACOS, on the other hand, stands for total advertising cost of sale. And what that means is of all the money that you make on Amazon, how much of that is taken away by your ads. So you could look at this more as a top line profitability metric. Profits, arguably one of the most important parts of actually running an Amazon business as a whole, if not the most important part. So, I mean, you're not in this to not make money. You're thinking about profit all the time. So TACOS essentially here we have, it's up to the video editors whether or not to blur this, but here we have a snapshot of our sales. This is just today. So if let's say we did $20,000 of sales in a day, we spent $2,000 on ads to generate $4,000 of ad sales, your ACOS would be 50% because that's $2,000 of ad spend to generate $4,000 of ad sales. But your TACOS, total advertising cost of sales, would be 10% because you spent $2,000 in spend and then your whole Amazon business generated $20,000. Now, the Amazon advertising UI is not going to ever display TACOS. I wish they had some way of showing you that in a graphical form, but since they only deal with advertising metrics, you only get ACOS because that's the ad sales that you generate. So unfortunately, you're not really able to plot this on a graph quite yet, but here's just an overview of ShipQuick over time. In the beginning days, it was a lot cheaper, then it started getting more expensive. stopped selling roughly in 2018, but by the end, we're getting close to the amount of money that we were spending is almost equivalent to the amount of money we were generating. Now that it's a lot harder to actually rank for keywords, now that advertising is much more expensive than it used to be, you need to think about where to move your money around so that your dollars go farther and you do more with less. So a good way to think about that would be, if you're ACOS, so let's say you decide to spend twice as much on advertising. The first example, so $2,000 to generate $4,000. If you go instead from that to spending $4,000 to generate $6,000 of sales, all those additional sales came at an expense of 100% ACOS. This is starting to sound like a math word problem, and it's because it kind of is. So the sales and the spend both went up by $2,000. So that can be kind of hard to stomach sometimes if that's your money that you were anticipating having for other things. But if that advertising boosted your keyword conversion or your keyword rank for several different keywords that you were targeting, as a result you got more organic sales, and then instead of making $20,000 you were making $25,000, your ACOS would go up because now you're at a 66% ACOS, 4,000 divided by 6,000. But if you look at it from a TACOS perspective, you're spending $4,000 to generate $25,000. So that is a little bit less than 20% ACOS. So that's a little bit less than 20% TACOS. So your TACOS went up, but you are generating now more sales. So your total profit beyond, what you're spending in ads, where it used to be $18,000 when you subtract the ad spend out, now it's $21,000. So using ACOS and TACOS, you can sort of view it as those numbers are getting worse, but it depends on what really the goal is here. So if you're deciding to spend a bunch more on ads, a good way to think about this is if you're managing a team or you're in charge of advertising or you're just doing all of your Amazon work, just you, a good way to think about this would be essentially at what point does this break? Where would my TACOS be that we would be making really no money at all? A lot of niches get to that point where it's kind of you're not really making much profit, but the business grows, and then once it gets to a certain size you can kind of collect more profit or you can hold on to those spots more. But what is my zero profit TACOS? And then you can use that to determine where my ACOS needs to be depending on how my sales and spend grow and fall. I'm willing to, inject this much more ad spend. If a good assumption is anytime you inject spend into an account, so you're spending $2,000 now, you want to spend $4,000. A good assumption is roughly, that's probably going to come at about a 100% ACOS. Even if your current ACOS is 50%, an extra $2,000 of spend is probably going to, generate you $2,000 of sales. Totally depending on the account, but just a good barometer to think of. So if I did that, where would my TACOS be? And depending on my TACOS, am I able to continue operating at, this amount? If I go beyond, is that going to hurt the profitability of my account? It's hard to do this truly without actually having an account that's running that I can show you, but a good way to think about it is just ACOS is advertising profitability, TACOS is total account minus the advertising. So when you're doing your optimizations, if you're delegating this to a team, give them a hard TACOS figure, check back in with that, look at how much you're spending, look at how much your account is making, plot these things over time. And if your ACOS is continuing to rise, but your TACOS stays the same, that's not the worst thing in the world. But if your ACOS is rising really sharply and you're getting to a point where your TACOS, is beginning to get to the point where you're not profitable, it's good to view, how much more ad spend could we increase before we break things, or do you need to give a hard ACOS target in order to get your TACOS back that your Amazon business is profitable? And that wraps up today's video. I hope it was informative. I hope you learned a thing or two about ACOS versus TACOS. If you have any questions about how these are used, how you want to view it through your account, please go ahead and drop a question in the comments. I respond to all the questions. I'll answer your what kind of information you need to know about ACOS and TACOS as it pertains to your campaigns or your Amazon account. Always happy to help. If you want more knowledge about how to optimize Amazon ads or just how to run an Amazon account in general, we've got awesome PDF resources in the description, so you can hit those links. And if you just want us to handle everything, you can follow the link below to go to our agency website, follow up with our head of strategic partnerships, and if your account is a good fit, we could just take care of all of this stuff. We're experts at what we do. If the account is right, we'll do as good as anybody could at making your Amazon account shine. And with that, happy optimizing, everyone.